Listen-only mode.
Hello, welcome everyone. This is Todd Walters, Platinum Coach. Sorry I'm a little horsey today. I'm just overcoming the flu, so I'm getting my voice back. I'm feeling pretty good though, and excited about what's coming up here in 2015 for everyone. As a matter of fact, one of the things I want to mention to you, if you can draw your attention to the computer monitor, you can see right here, Platinum Workshops. We got one coming up in January 24th through 25th, right there in Orlando, Florida. So what you do is you go to the coaching site, go to the library tab, and you'll see we've got schedule tab, and you'll see we've got a little button right here that says Platinum Workshops. Schedule Platinum Workshops, click, and there you go, coming to a town near you. Now this one in Orlando, we've got room for quite a few people, so you're going to want to be there. It's going to be fantastic. So looking forward to seeing all of you there, January 24th to 25th. Put it on your calendar and go ahead and book it. Your travel with Tina at the travel firm. So with that, to talk a little bit about what's happening, let's bring on Mr. Proctor, Mr. Craig Proctor. How you doing, sir?
You don't sound too good, and I know I don't sound that much better, but I think I do sound better.
You sound a little better than me. That's okay. You can do all the talking today.
Yeah, I was afraid you might say that. I've been sick here for the last bit as well, but I have to say I am on the road to recovery. So, Todd, you wanted to talk about analyzing this year, 2014, and preparing for a quantum leap next year in 2015. And you and I were talking about that this morning, and what advice we would give everybody about how we did that. And I was telling Todd that at the end of every year, I would book an entire day off, usually at a boardroom at a local hotel. I didn't want to do this at the office, too many distractions. I didn't want to attempt this at home, too many distractions. So we would go to the local hotel, get a boardroom, and I would request information. I would go with my right-hand person from the office. I'm sure all of you have one. It might be your spouse. But I would want information for that meeting. And the information that I would request is as follows. The first thing that I would want is I would want a list of all the homes that we sold. So in 2014, all the homes that you sold, and I'd want to know the source code. Okay, you all should be doing that when you're entering your leads. You should be assigning a source code. There should be a field. Doesn't matter what contact management system you're using, and there's going to be a drop-down list, and you're going to create the pick list. What was useful about this is I was able to determine that the vast majority of my sales came from just a couple of things. So what that told me is a lot of the stuff that I was spending time on was kind of a waste of time. And it's good to know that, right? Because logic would tell us if most of our business is coming from a few things and not much business is coming from a lot of things, that we should spend less time doing what brings in few transactions, and we should really focus on the few activities that generate tons of sales. So, we should stop right there, and you should think about that. Do you know where your sales came from specifically? Okay, because if you're tracking this properly, you will find out the same thing that I found out, the same thing Todd found out. There's going to be like 3 or 4 things that really kick butt, and then there's a lot of other things that are simply a distraction. Okay, the next thing you want to have in mind is, what is your goal? Like what is this quantum leap? What's that number going to be? And that's where a lot of real estate agents stop. They have a goal, they have a number, but they don't have a roadmap to actually get there. Their plan kind of fizzles out. It's just like off the top of their head, they say, I want to go from 200 transactions to 400 transactions, but they don't take it any further. So the key here is you got to break it down, break it down, break it down. You got to know exactly what you're going to do, what you have to do to reach that goal. And sometimes I got to say, when you write it down, the other question is am I prepared to do that? You know, so if you go to the business plan, oh, here comes the train, Todd. I don't think you and I can compete with the train today, so we'll just let that go by. Okay, I was looking at the 1-hour business plan this morning. Yep, and Todd's got it up there. This is the exercise that I went through. So are you going to be able to do this in an hour? No, but it'll be a great head start. Just click on volume breakdown analysis there, Todd, please. Okay, so this is your wish list here. Okay, so this is where we start. Number one, I want to earn X amount in the next 12 months. Okay, so what you're going to give? Well, how many hours am I prepared to work? How many days am I prepared to work? You break all that down. Okay, and then how you're going to do it on the right-hand side. I will earn, let's say that's $1 million in commissions. Therefore, I must close. Well, all you have to do is divide your average commission by that big number, $1 million, and now you understand how many transactions you need to do. Well, what percentage of those transactions are going to come from sellers? What percentage are going to come from buyers? Okay, so this is really easy, and I'm sure most of you have already done this. Okay, but that's where I would start. I would start with these numbers of where did my business come from last year specifically? What were the 3 or 4 things that worked the best? What were the 27 things I did that didn't work that well, that we're not going to do anymore? Okay, and you know, what do I have to do to get to the next level? The other report that I always would request for this meeting is I would request the performance per agent for all the members on my team. And again, you're going to find that there's some agents that are doing a great job and they can handle even more business. And then you're going to find there's other agents that probably you should fire. Okay, so if you're not going to do this at all throughout the year, this is a good time to take a look at those numbers. Okay, what are your how many outside sales agents do you need? If I want to go from 200 transactions to 400 transactions, do I have the right people with me right now? Chances are I don't, right? Because if I did, we'd already be doing that number of transactions. So if I want to go from 100 transactions to 200 transactions or 200 transactions to 400 transactions, it means I got to fire a couple of the weak producers. And part of my plan, in addition to lead generation, is how am I going to handle all this business? I'm definitely going to need to recruit more agents. So that's going to go into my plan. Can we go back to the business plan there again, please, Todd? Okay, and the back button again. Okay, so let's look at next tab down, listing buyer volume breakdown. Okay, so this is your goal for both buyers and sellers. So I want to sell, let's say, 100 listing sides, or I want to sell 100 buyer sides. I know that blank percentage of my listings sell. Therefore, I need to take blank listings. I know that I sign up, let's say, 90% of the listings that I meet with. Therefore, I must go on blank listing presentations. So by year end, this means I need to go on blank listing presentations per month, blank listing presentations per week, and blank listing presentations per day. When you break it down per week and per day, you're going to have a pretty good feeling as to whether you think that's realistic based on the lead generation that you have and based on the team that you have. There's no use kidding yourself. If you don't have the right structure to make this happen, you've got one of two choices. Well, you got three choices. Number one, you can lie to yourself. Number two, you could lower your expectations. Or number three, you got to do whatever's necessary to reach the goal. Okay, and that's going to mean usually perhaps better technology, better people, and better marketing. Okay, so let's go to the next one now, Todd. Yep. Okay, so where's this business going to come from? You know, it's one thing to say, well, I need X amount of buyer leads or X amount of seller leads. Where exactly are they going to come from? Now, that last report that we looked at, that we talked about, is going to be really helpful, because you want to know, well, where did my transactions come from this year? You know, Todd, that's the first thing you do when you do a new consultation. You do a consultation with a new member. The first question you ask them is, well, where does your existing business come from?
Yeah, that's right. I'm trying to get at least, the last 5 or 10 closings, where did it come from? And that's very revealing. And typically, it's like you say, the member's spending quite a bit of money on the things that their business is not really coming from, but they always got a good attitude about it. Well, I think it's going to catch up. It's good. There is something to say for that, but I mean, how long do you let that play out? You know what I mean? I mean, I think it's true that when we really look at this, most of our business, 80% of it, does come from just a very few things, and some of those things are items that we spend the least amount of money on.
Okay, well, this is where you really want to be honest. When I'm looking at this page right now, and I've got the report, remember, I've got the report for this year, let's say 2014, and it's telling me where all my transactions came from. Then I have to start asking myself, okay, well, if I want to go, say, from 100 to 200 transactions, how am I going to do this? Like, what are my biggest opportunities? So let's say classified ads, they worked really, really well. Well, how am I going to goose that? How am I going to go from X amount of leads to 2X? Okay, I really need to start thinking deeply about where this source of buyers or sellers are going to come from, and I'm going to use the knowledge that I already have. And sometimes, Todd, I'd look at this and I'd say, my classified ads are, let's say, coming from the newspaper. I can't get any more out of that. I've tried that. Like, I've exhausted the local newspaper. Or I'm running ads on Facebook and it's working, but I've exhausted that. I can't figure out how to do it better or do more. If you've exhausted what you have, it means you've got to come up with some other ideas. Okay, you're going to have to start doing advertising, finding out other ways of generating leads if you feel you've exhausted what you currently have. But that's where there's a good conversation with your coach or with Todd at that point to see if truly you have exhausted it, or whether you can plus what you're currently doing.
Yeah, that's a good point.
Let me give you an example of what I did. So by about 1998, I had goosed Newmarket pretty well. I had a 15% market share. Okay, that means one in every 8 sold signs had my name on it. So I was going through this very exercise that we're discussing now, and I realized that what was confining me was my marketplace. I realized that I needed to expand outside of this town of 75,000 people. And that's when I got this idea that I'll go south into the town of Aurora. Now, everybody told me at that time, well, you don't understand, Craig. Home sellers in Aurora, they're not going to deal with a Newmarket agent. You don't understand. They're not going to do that. But I made it my job that they would, and within 2 years, I became the top listing agent in Aurora. Okay, so and Aurora is about the same size as Newmarket. So I was able to double my transactions by working a marketplace that was twice as big. That was one way I was able to double my sales, just doing the same exact thing, but doing it in a bigger marketplace. And of course, you guys know the rest of the story. Then I kept expanding into other marketplaces, one after another, after another, after another. So what you're doing probably can be expanded to other marketplaces. So that might be an opportunity for some of you. Some of the marketplaces I went into, by the way, I'd never sold a house in my life. but I became one of the top agents in that area while never, ever listing a home in that area myself, because I hired agents that were experts in that particular area. Okay, so this is scalable. Is what you're doing scalable? Can you expand the marketplace? Because by that point, Todd, by 1998, I figured I really had the lead generation down. So there will be a point where you're goosing this campaign as much as you can. You're not going to get anything more out of it. And what happens is you end up wasting money when you've already hit the ceiling, the law of diminishing returns. So that was one thing I was able to identify at least at the end of the year. I spent all this money on marketing and advertising, and like I said, there's 4 or 5 things that are really kicking butt, and there's a whole lot of things that I'm spending a ton of money on that aren't. I should do more of the stuff that's working, or go into a different area, find a different opportunity, because I already had a 15% market share, and to go from 15% market share to 20% market share, to get that extra 5%, I'd probably have to spend so much money. It was just way easier to go into a completely different market and pick up 10% market share there.
Those are huge market share numbers, though.
Yeah.
Those are really big.
Okay, so let's go to the next tab.
Hey, how important is it to, let's suppose your business is, down over the previous year. How important is it to know why?
Well, that never happened to me. I never had a year that was worse than the year before, even in downturns. But I would say, you could be doing the same thing, and if the market's not as good, I guess by doing the same thing, if the market's not as good, that can drag you down. I always made sure that I was doing more in a down market. You see, I really made a name for myself as a listing agent in a down market. Here in our marketplace in Toronto, we had a recession in 1991. I'm not sure if you had that in Atlanta, but we had a pretty bad recession here, and home prices dropped about 30%. And all my competitors were taking their foot off the gas pedal and applying their foot on the brakes. They stopped advertising and marketing. They stopped chasing listings because listings weren't selling. And I hit the gas pedal. I picked up a lot of listings. That's the first time I had well over 100 listings. And I was very, very aggressive with my pricing. And I got the reputation as a realtor that would get the house sold in a marketplace where houses weren't selling. So I really always liked the slow market. I know a lot of agents, they get freaked out and they think it's a bad thing. I always thought it was a good thing because I always increased my market share in poor markets. Hey, before we go to this, can we just go back to, there's just one more tab, a couple more tabs I want to look at it in the business plan.
Yeah. Marketing tab, team building.
Yeah. So hit marketing.
Okay.
Okay, so here's your 3 ways. If you take a look at those tabs there, Todd, marketing, team, and technology. Those are 3 points of leverage right there. Okay, those are your biggest 3. I want to make more money. It's marketing. I got to do better marketing. I got to do more marketing. I got to do marketing in a different area. Team building. Well, if I'm going to crank this thing up and go from 100 to 200 transactions, I need more people. That's where you come in. Always be recruiting. Always be recruiting. And then technology. What technology can we embrace to make this work better? So hit the marketing tab. Okay, you did. All right, so this is where we're going to write down our goals. So my first goal might be expand market area into Aurora. Okay, expand into Aurora. Okay, my second goal might be, implement tour of homes. I want to have 2 tour of homes every Sunday. Okay, my third marketing goal might be, I'm going to I'm going to get Commissions Inc. Or I'm going to get involved with I don't know. Give me an example. My brain went dead there.
That's funny. I'm actually emailing out to all the members that Universal Autopsy right now. I threw it up on the screen. I had about 20 people say I want that. But anyway, get back to your point on marketing.
We make a great pair today, don't we?
No, I'm multitasking.
Usually when I say, what am I talking about, you can fill in the blanks. But right now you just say, I got nothing.
That's funny.
Okay, so what's the, there's Z-Buyer. That's one of the companies that you might want to try.
Yeah, bold leads.
Bold leads, that's it, bold leads. And what's the other one? The guys that do the postcards for it.
Smart Zip.
Smart Zip, thanks. Yeah. Smart Zip. Okay, so that's kind of funny. Okay, so under marketing, I might want to engage with one of these companies to help me generate more leads. So there's Z-Buyer. Okay, so they're buyer leads. There's Commissions Inc. A lot of you guys are involved with Commissions Inc. Bold leads. Those are seller leads. Smart Zip. Many of you are involved with Smart Zip. So that might be something I want to add, one of my goals under marketing. Now, ideas to implement. These are the fine-tuning ideas that you're going to implement to reach these goals. Okay. So if I want to go from 100 to 200 transactions, okay, what ideas am I going to implement? And we're going to list them all out here. It's better to have too many of them, and then you can shorten the list. Okay, but obviously, if you want to go up in transactions, you're going to have to do better marketing, or you're going to have to do a way better job following up your leads. And that's an opportunity, by the way, for many of you. Many of you don't even need more leads to do better. What you need to do is you need to tighten up your follow-up. Okay, you should be like, following up more, and then you wouldn't need to generate more leads. Okay, so how about this? Follow up more, spend less. Okay, do you want to go down one now to team building? Okay, so team building, what's your goal? The goal is, I want to go from 100 to 200 transactions, so I need, you figured out you need 4 more outside sales agents to do that. Okay, and you need 2 agents of the 4. They've got to be high-end agents, and the other 2 are going to work with first-time buyers. Okay, so how are you going to do this? Okay, so we've got Jay Macklin, and Jay says, well, one of the things I do is I'm going to do like a monthly meeting where I bring them all in, and I'm going to use education as a hook to get the other realtors in Scottsdale that perhaps aren't happy with where they're working. I'm going to get in front of them, and that's going to be part of my my recruiting process. So, what are you going to do to recruit these people? You've got 2 choices. One choice is a passive approach, where you run ads, and we have the ads here on the website, and you hope and you wait that high-quality realtors are going to contact you. Okay. The other is a more proactive approach, where you're basically contacting them, and you can get a list of all the top agents. Well, not the top agents, because you're not going to get those. You get a list of all the agents in your area. You're probably going to want to scratch off the agents at the top, because you're not going to get them, and you're going to scratch off the agents at the bottom because you don't want them. Then you're going to focus on the agents in between. Okay, so you're going to write down all your different ideas. This is where you're going to get really specific. Okay, because this isn't about being general. This is about being really, really specific. And at the end here, you can see you can actually attach a timeline to all these activities. If you go down, see first half action plan there, Todd, if you click on that.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, so we've broken down the year, first half and last half of the year. Okay, so you've written down all these ideas under marketing, team, and technology. Okay, now we're not going to try to do everything on week one, right? So you're going to write down when you're going to do this thing. So the best ideas you're going to write down at the top, the ideas that you feel will cause you the most amount of leverage, and you want to attack those things throughout the year, but those go first. You know, that's what you want to do week 1, week 2, week 3. We also have room for personal goals as well, vacations you want to take, things you want to do. Those should go into your plan. Okay, my voice is shot. Back to you.
Well, I just emailed this to everyone right here. So let me throw that up on the screen. Because if we go back to, just a basic coaching consultation, if I'm on the phone with a member, my question is, okay, where's your business coming from? Where'd your last 5 closings come from? And this is not an answer. Success website. Okay, that's, the success website's it's like a phone number, specifically which landing page and from which ad marketing campaign. And those questions are revealing because it reveals that, well, I'm not really sure. Like somebody will say, well, I had 5 call-ins. Okay, call-ins from what? Well, I don't know, because they just tell me they see me everywhere. I was like, well, do you ask them on the telephone where they got your phone number? I mean, they got to be calling you from something. They didn't pull the phone number out of their head. They're probably looking at a business card, at a flyer. It's a number they wrote down from somewhere. So, at the very least, how did you get our phone number? So keeping up with the leads are very important when it comes time to drill down on where the business is coming from. And it is, I think, for most of you guys that are watching the program today, you're spending a lot of money on some stuff. Not everyone, but you're spending a lot of money on things, but the majority of your closings are coming from other things. So we want to put that in perspective. And we're not saying, well, don't go spend money on things. I mean, it's just understand where the business is coming from, and can we leverage what it is that we're doing to squeeze more business out of it. And many times the answer is yes. But to get back on my question to Craig, like, okay, if your business is down, let's suppose it's here we are, month of November, just finishing up. So was your November 2014 up or down over the same month last year, November 2013? And if it's up, why? Can you identify why? There would be clues to that. And if it's down, why? Like, we want to know why. So this universal business autopsy form is actually pretty good at answering some of these why questions. When things aren't going maybe the way that we want them to go, especially with our business. And even though your business may be going smashingly well, there are probably things or parts of it that you could do just to make it better. So at the end of the year, and that's why we're talking about this now, obviously, here we are at the end of 2014. We want 2015 to be a massive quantum leap for all of you. We have huge things planned for you, Platinum members, in 2015. Massive stuff that we're going to be rolling out and doing and laying on your plate. So you want to make sure that you're getting good at the parts of the business that matter the most. All right. So if you look down here at this universal business autopsy, let's take a look. Oh, I just emailed this to everyone. Okay, so we'll make sure that you can check your inbox. It should be there. It's a PDF. I just emailed it out using my email tool to everyone. But the big things we're looking at right here, let's just scroll down under troubleshooting. I could probably shrink that down just a hair more so everybody can see it. I just don't know if you can read it. But from marketing to follow-up to conversion to actually booking the appointments, okay, closing, so you actually are having appointments, and the whole thing with client management. Okay, so these are the areas of your business that you, the Rainmaker, when you're doing your business planning, when you get together with your team here over the next couple of weeks, Okay, what is it you're zeroing down on? Okay, so we've got the 1 hour business plan that we skimmed through there a little bit, and this business autopsy. These are the two things I believe they're going to be crucial to making this happen for you, so that you have a plan and you're writing relevant things down, analyzing each one of them, and giving it some thought. Okay, make no mistake about it now, guys. It's really how we're thinking here that is either the solution to getting a quantum leap, or it could very well be the problem. Okay, so the way that we think about things. So this should get you thinking, I think, a little more than if you didn't have it. Okay, so let's just look at a few examples. Right out of the chute here. Number one, how many leads are you generating per week? Okay, not enough leads, go to question 2. Lots of leads, go to question 4. Okay, let's suppose you don't have enough leads. Go to question 2. Are 10 to 15% of the prospects leaving you their contact information? Let's say it's, yeah, they are. Okay, well, you go to point number 3, which is troubleshoot marketing. So we go down here to marketing, and we probably have a message to media to market match problem. Okay, and if you can't figure this out on your own, which there's a good chance there's probably going to be some holes. We only know what we know. You want to talk to your coach. Okay, or zip me an email or a call here so we can work on these things and make sure that in 2015 we make improvements in these areas. All right. So now let's go back to the business plan. I want to point out a couple of things too that I think are pretty interesting. And it's competitive analysis, looking at competitors. All right. So let me take a sip of water. I was talking to Titanium member Keller Lawrence this morning, and Keller has a 9% market share in his marketplace, and that's really big. And there's some of those big numbers that Craig was throwing around where he was there in Newmarket and surrounding areas. So I asked Keller, I said, do you feel like there are any threats to your business, looking over your shoulder, anybody gaining momentum on you or anything like that? And he said, I don't think so. I'm not 100% sure. And I says, well, here's probably what you want to do, okay, is especially now, you want to pull the hot sheets from all the listings that are hitting the marketplace on a daily basis, weekly basis, monthly basis, and cross-reference those sellers of those properties that just got listed with the sellers in your database, okay, with people, prospects in your database, and just see if some of the new listings, homes that are hitting the marketplace, are people that you've been marketing to. Like they've been getting your mail, they've been getting your stuff, they've been on your mailing list, you've been calling them, maybe you haven't been reaching them, okay, but you see them listed with another competitor. All right, so that's a great reason to pull the hot sheets and keep up what's going on with your competitors, but are they actually taking your business? Okay, start there, and then we'll probably be able to drill down and figure out why once you look at the marketing plan or activities associated with that prospect that you may have lost to a competitor and didn't know it. And this will also reveal if a competitor is sneaking up on you. Okay, and you don't want that to happen. You don't want some slick, smart marketer that's riding your coattails, watching what you're doing, slipping up on you and biting you from behind. Okay, so I think it's extremely advantageous to you to know these things. So on the business plan here, we've got competitive analysis, looking at key competitors, and this primarily has to do with the listing side of the business. Okay, so if you're big in the listings and you want to know what's going on, maybe your business is down a little bit or increased competition in the marketplace, you probably want to consider taking a look at that. All right. Another item I want to throw out there at you is over here on threats and opportunities. I'm just going to click on that. And we've been talking about this quite a bit in the Titanium Mastermind, and that is the trend of real estate commissions. We could consider coming soon listings as a threat. So if you do a big buyer business and you've got some other big listers in your marketplace that are able to get rid of these houses before they put them in MLS or put them on the market, that could be causing you fits if you're the one with the big buyer business. Okay, that could be a threat to you. Okay, so how we're going to deal with that? The trend of decreasing commissions. Commissions for buyers agents overall in North America in the MLSs are going down from 3.5% to 3, 2.5%, 2% or less in some of your marketplaces out there. So, okay, so what are you going to do about it? Well, to me, the big opportunity for that would be to set my fee on a buyer agreement and learn how to do a good job of negotiating it and collecting it. All right, and this is where we can help you more than anybody else can. We pioneered that here, and we know how to do that on all levels. So as some examples. So I would definitely take time in your business planning session with your team and your staff to identify threats, trends, both positive and negative, opportunities to deal with these things. Okay, all right, good. So there's a couple things I had on my plate there I wanted to throw out. Let me look at some questions. Hey, Todd, I didn't get the business autopsy. Oh, that's too bad, man. Sorry, Dan. No, I'll send it to you directly. All right, so looks like we answered a good bit of these questions here along the way. All right, so Craig, you back with us? Got a couple questions for you.
I am here.
All right. Okay, so Sam here says he has a hard time drilling down since he's selling around 50, 60 homes a year, and his competitors, the big threat that he has in his marketplace, are competitors that are discounters, okay, and other agents that throw out unrealistic prices to the sellers. So he's losing business that way.
All right, so he's in the same marketplace as everybody else. Right, because we've all got that problem. It's a question from Sam, is that right?
Yeah.
Okay, so Sam, for the discounters, what I would do is I'd run the for sale by owner editorial ad, because the sellers that are considering the discounters will respond, of course, to that campaign as well. You're always going to have commission cutters, but that's a great way to get these sellers who would be interested in maybe the discounters to raise their hand, and then you can swoop in there and give them a real presentation and show them why they're better to hire you and how they're going to net more money. The focus, of course, would be on net, getting them to focus on what they're going to get in their pocket.
Which ad was that? Which ad was that, Kurt?
The for sale by owner editorial ad.
You go 1017.
Yep.
Yeah.
Okay, so in the mid-1990s, we had a discounting company here called Mincom. Use your imagination, Mincom, minimum commission. So the company was called Mincom. And so they started to do fairly well based on this, advertising their low commission. The thing is nobody really got the low commission unless they double-ended it. So it was sort of a bait and switch, right? So I think they advertised 3.5%, but the only sellers that would pay 3.5% is if the Mincom agent would double-end the property. Of course, that hardly ever happened. And if you were a Mincom agent, why would you even want to bother double-ending your own listing? Because you didn't get paid much more to do that. So I came up, that's the timing when I came up with this editorial ad, and it was great to combat that, because a lot of these sellers that were commission sensitive would respond to this campaign. And now the seller was interviewing myself and Mincom, or these discounters, and of course I did very well. And Sam, I'm sure you're going to do very well as long as you can get in front of them. And that's the problem right now, maybe, is you're not getting a chance at this business. They're just calling the discount company and they're listing with the discounter. If they did take the time to interview you, you would beat them out, but you're not getting that opportunity. So I'd recommend using this campaign to combat a lot of discounting in your marketplace. What was the other threat that Sam had? He said the discounters, then there was something else?
Overpricing, overpromising.
Yeah, well, I think that goes on in every marketplace. Look, again, you just got to get in front of them. You know, your listing presentation has to be so good that it accomplishes two things. Number one, Sam, when they interview you and they interview 3 other agents, they're absolutely convinced they want you, and they're willing to pay you extra to get you. Some of you have a listing presentation that accomplishes step 1. You have a listing presentation that's good enough to compel the seller to want you, but then they say to you, well, look, we interviewed 4 agents. We really would like to list our home with you, but the other agents offered a lower commission. So if you match their commission, we'll list our home with you. Okay? So that's no good, right? Because you got the business, but now you got to match the discounted commission. So we don't want a commission match. So it's a big job, but that's how strong the presentation has to be. Let me repeat that again. It has to be so good that it accomplishes 2 things. Number one, you blow them out of the water. They're impressed. They want to list with you and only with you, and they're prepared to pay a premium to get you.
All right, let's see. I've got a few people. Let me deal with this real fast, Craig. I got a few guys and gals saying that they did not get the attachment, this universal business autopsy. All right.
Hey,
So
Todd, give me access to the questions. I don't see them here, and I can help you out. I can read some of the questions while you're doing what you have to do there.
oh, geez, man.
I know you don't know how to do that, right?
Yes, I do. Hang on. I'm doing it right now. You ready?
All right.
All right, there you go, buddy. Okay, so let me show everybody what's going on here. Okay, so some of you did not get the attachment that I sent you. So we want to deal with this right now. This is a housekeeping issue. All right, I want to show everybody how this works. Because if you're not getting the attachment from me, that means you're not getting a lot of emails from me. Okay, so back on the home page right here, if you look up here in the upper right hand corner, there's a message center. Okay, everybody has that. You can click on your message center button and see what emails you're not getting. Okay, because what's happening is your email address that you use is not the one that we have on record. Okay, because you can see right here, I've got a little tool that I use. Okay, I just click on that little tool right there, and it emails all the Platinum members at one time, obviously. So if you're not getting emails, that means your email address is not on record here as being the one you want to get stuff at. Okay, so you're going to want to fix that, and you can fix it obviously under your on your profile. Okay, and if we can't get it fixed there, then you want to email. Let's see, we may just not have it on record, right? Who should email, Craig? Ruth?
What are you looking for?
If somebody's email address is changed or different, and we want to get it. Yeah, Ruth? Okay.
Ruth at craigproctor.com.
All right. There you go. Email Ruth at craigproctor.com if you're not getting the emails that you see in the message center here. You click on the message center. There's a bunch of them. See? There's the one I just sent. Business autopsy. And there's the attachment right there. Okay.
Hey, I got to ask you something. Did they give you a deal for that location next to the train tracks?
Now I am right in the middle of downtown Beaufort, buddy. It's great. I love it. And it's, it's pretty cool.
I remember I had this horrible listing once, and it was in Holland Landing, and it was next to the train tracks, next to the river. It was on a main highway, and there was actually an airport right next to it. So I didn't know how to market this thing because it was so ridiculous. I just, I think the headline was Commuter's Dream. Why wouldn't it be a commuter's dream? You could fly there, you could take a boat there, you could take a car there, or you could take a train there.
No, man, I love it. It's great.
Okay, look, Sam the man's got a question here. He wants to know, when I was talking about your goals versus your ideas, okay, I think I screwed that up, Sam, so let me clarify that. Todd and I are not thinking very clearly here today. Okay, so your goal would be, let's say your marketing goal was, I want to create a Sunday tour of homes. That's the goal. Okay, that's a marketing goal. I want to create a Sunday tour of homes. Now, you say versus ideas. Well, the idea would be all the stuff that you need to do to make that happen. So you got to design an ad for your tour of homes. You might need to order a second sign, a Sunday tour of homes sign with a hotline. You might create a flyer, okay, for that with a hotline script. You're going to create a landing page for your Sunday tour of homes. So the ideas are all the little things, the picky items you got to get to make that goal of the Sunday tour of homes actually happen. Okay, some people are asking where to get the business autopsy. Have you handled that one?
This one I emailed out to everyone.
Okay.
Yeah.
I think it is on the coaching site. I think if you go to the file library and you type in universal business autopsy or business autopsy, I think it comes up there, I believe. And if not, we should make that happen, because that's where it should be. Okay, or universal business autopsy.
Yeah, that's it.
It's there somewhere. I have no idea where.
Yeah, I mean, I'm sure it is, buddy. I got it on my desktop because I use it.
Yeah, well, that's the thing. Like, if you guys are asking where it is, pretty clear indication you're not using it. But, okay, check under library or resources.
It's fine. I'll put it up there right now.
Okay. We'll figure that out. Okay, then we've got some people asking about, well, where is this, where is this Washington event? Yeah, it's D.C., not Washington State. It's actually in Bethesda. Okay, it's in Bethesda, so you might be saying, well, why do we say Washington? Because when we say Virginia, when we say Arlington, Virginia, when we say Arlington, people think of Arlington, Texas. So then we thought, well, let's just call it D.C., and, now we're getting confused with Washington State. So doesn't seem to matter what we do, we confuse people. But it is Washington, D.C. It's actually Bethesda. It's actually going to be in Bethesda, I believe.
All right, so I'm just putting this up on the coaching site right now under Platinum Business Plans. I'll make it nice and easy for all the Platinum members to get to it. So boom, it's there.
Okay, Mark Good is asking, what is the third lead generation company that you mentioned? Okay, so ZBuyer generates, as the name would indicate, buyer leads. Okay, Commission Inc. and Bold Leads. Okay, so Commission Inc., you're going to get buyer, I guess, and seller leads. Bold Leads is seller leads. Smart Zip is seller leads. Okay, now if you remember, all of those companies were at our Anaheim event back in September. Okay, does everyone remember we had like a vendor room, a sponsor room, and those companies and a bunch more were there. So I know some of you are using these companies to different degrees, but that might be a way to generate more leads if you tapped out, all your old lead generation. Of course, our preference is always to teach you how to fish, because being dependent on someone else for your leads is like that's the last place you go. It's not the first place you go. Okay, Nathan, our good buddy Nathan in Rhode Island says, I was actually working on this today, and I was breaking closings down, and I'm noticing on some that I'm making $100K, but it cost me $50K after the split with my OSA. I'm break even. Would you continue those plans? Okay, let me read that again. So it's actually working on this today. I was breaking my closings down, and I'm noticing on some that I'm making $100K, but it costs me $50. Okay, and then after the split, so the outside sales agent's getting the other $50. Yeah, that's not cool. But you don't know that until you do the analysis. And I've got to admit, Nathan, there were times where I would look at the numbers and I would say, well, that makes no sense, because sometimes I wasn't making much. Here's a situation where clearly your outside sales agents are making more than you with this deal. So you got to figure this out. They should never be making more than you. we got to figure out how to do this. So, I mean, my team members made good money, but Lindy Black was making $3. I don't know if she ever hit $400,000, but if she's making $300,000, I got to be making $1 million. That's no good if she's making $300,000 and I'm netting $300,000. That's not going to work. Okay, Sam is asking if we could drill down on consumer research a bit, please. Okay, so what I did is I had Stephanie in my office, who's still with me today, proud to say, after 20-odd years. I had her create a survey, which you'll see in the business plan, and she would actually phone people that had just sold their properties, okay, that sold, and she would ask them these questions, and we wanted to learn a lot about our competitors. We wanted to learn their strengths, so what do we got to watch out for, but we also wanted to exploit their weaknesses. So are you able to show one of those surveys?
Right here. Competitive analysis, key competitor number 1. What's their USP? What market do they target? Describe their advertising.
Where's the script, though? I think there's a script there. Okay, that's where you're going to plot all the information, but does it show the actual script she used?
No, I thought that she just read from that this is the script.
No.
No,
that's, I mean, we're not going to call the seller up and say, what's your USP?
No, we just translated it into, I get what you're saying, but we use this form, we just didn't use these words. Like, why did you pick that agent over and above any other real estate agent? Or calling Todd Walters?
Okay, so there should be a script. There's not. We need to get it for you guys.
Yeah, it's not here in the business plan.
No. What I liked about having Stephanie make these calls to my competitors' sellers is, she wasn't a real estate agent, right? So she could ask questions that I couldn't ask. Like, we're not supposed to really be calling our competitors' clients. So we would wait for the transaction to firm up, the conditions are removed, and then Stephanie would call with that script, and the information we gathered from that script got plotted onto what you're looking at now.
Well, let's ask her.
I might have it right here. I've got the paper version of this. Let me look through this, see if I can find it. But you're going to need a script. You can't just be asking the questions point blank. Yeah, it's not in here.
Nope. Well, I sent it to Stephanie. I mean, we just use this form. I just had my my customer service person basically just reverse the words on the script.
Okay, I found it. It's
we had a script for it.
Okay, I found it. It's on page 9 and 10. I don't know where that is online. It's right. Go to the end of competitive analysis, customer research. Click on that one.
Customer research.
Yeah, below competitor number 5, it says customer research.
Yep, there we go.
That's where you're going to find it.
There it is, right there. Okay, yeah, this is it. This is definitely okay.
Yeah. Hi, my name's Stephanie. I'm doing an independent survey.
Right here.
Of the real estate market here in Newmarket. I know you've just sold your home, blah, blah, blah. On a 5-point scale, 5 being very satisfied, 1 being dissatisfied, could you please rate how happy you were with the price your home sold for, timing, blah, blah, blah. Number 2, how did you go about choosing the real estate agent you used? Let them come up with their own answers. Advertising, friend, agent called me, other. Number 3, what do you think your agent did a particularly good job of? Number 4, what area do you think your agent could use some improvement? Number 5, would you reuse that agent again? If no, why not? Could you please name the real estate agents you're familiar with in this area? And of course, I'm hoping that if they did, they didn't list with me, but maybe that my name might come up in one of the names of agents they're familiar with. If the survey respondent used you to sell his or her home, go to question 9. So Stephanie was surveying my sellers and also surveying my competitors' sellers. Okay, so that's the survey that you're going to use to get the information for the competitive analysis. So hopefully that helps you out.
Yeah, that's under customer research.
Yep.
We'll call it customer research script.
Okay, Larry's saying he can't see all the questions. Okay, I think that's because Todd was moving it around there, but you know where to find it. You know where to find it now.
Yeah. He's got to go to the website here under it's under resources. Let me help everybody out here again. Resources tab, 1 hour business plan. When you click on the 1 hour business plan, it's customer research tab. Link, customer research link. Yeah, hey Craig, we were talking, you've been working on a few additions and alterations to the coaching site here, like the USP ad generator.
Yeah, should I show everybody that?
If you can.
Well, I don't know, it's pretty cool. Okay, let me see, you'd have to switch it over to me. Let me see here if I can get it going here.
All right, let me know when you do and I'll flip it over. You know, everybody should be familiar with the ad generator under the library tab. Library tab, click on ad generator. And when you do, you get access to all of our ads. And it's kind of hard to screw them up. When you can, click on editorial ads and select the editorial ad, just put in your contact information.
Okay, so everybody sees here, go back one. Go back to the main page of the ad generator. Okay, so you got two choices here right now, right? You got classified ads and you've got editorial ads. We're going to add a third button that says USP ads. Okay, so if you click on classified ads right now, Todd, it'd ask you for buyers or sellers. Same thing, if you click on editorial ads, it'll ask you, do you want ads for buyers or sellers? Well, it'll work the same way. You'll click on USP ads, and then it will prompt you, do you want ads for buyers or do you want ads for sellers? So if you want to throw this over to me, I'll show everybody what we've got.
All right.
Everybody wants to know what I've been working on between going to medical walk-in clinics. I can't hear out of one ear. I go to a walk-in clinic, Todd, last week because my doctor can't see me. So I walk in, and the guy looks down your throat, and he looks in my ears, and then he sticks something in my left ear, and it hurts like hell, and now I can't hear out of that ear very well. So now I have, like bronchitis, fever, and I'm deaf in one ear.
Oh, geez.
So I hope he was a doctor.
All right, I can see your screen.
Okay,
right.
Okay, so USP ad generator. Okay, so here's eventually what we're going to have. We're going to have, there's 3 types of USPs, right? There's performance guarantees, statistical guarantees, and then unique services that you offer. Well, part 1 of this, and I just finished it today, and it'll take the IT guys at the office probably a couple weeks, maybe even a month with the holidays to get this done. But this is what it looks like. So like I promised, buyers or sellers. So I want some USPs, performance USPs for buyers. So I click on that, and here's some choices right here. So we've got the ad template. Okay, so there's the ad. Now, everything that's pink here, you're going to be able to change. Okay, so if you want to offer a $10,000 savings on your home purchase guaranteed, or I'll pay you $2,000, it'll be easy for you to do that. Okay, so that's the template that you're going to use. You're going to drop your picture in, and that's what the ad's going to look like. Okay, so these are the variables, by the way. These are all the things that you're going to be able to change. Okay, now the hotline script. Okay, so I've customized the hotline script, so you won't have to worry about that. The hotline script will be ready for you to go. And then the landing page. So this landing page will go over to Success website. Because you're Platinum members, you'll get access to this. Okay, so you don't have to worry about that. And then we offer a special report. You see, here's what many of you are doing. You're messing these up. In fact, every Friday when I do the ad clinic with James, I noticed that the classified ads you guys get, the editorial ads you get, but with the USP ads, you seem to kind of mess these up. So since everyone's messing them up, I'm thinking, well, that's got to be my fault, right? If you guys don't know how to do it, my job's to show you how to do it. So that's why I want to create this. So this is the way it should work. You've got an offer, right? You've got a very powerful headline here, $5,000 savings on your home purchase guaranteed, or I'll pay you $500. No gimmicks. For more information on my exclusive VIP buyer program, order a free report by visiting, and we've got a domain name, and we've got a free recorded message, or they can call you directly. There's 3 options. But there has to be a reason why the prospect wants to visit your website. Okay, there has to be a benefit, or a benefit as to why they'd want to call your 800 number. It's to get the free report that explains how they're going to benefit. Now, some of you guys get this, some of you don't. So I've included a couple of examples here of people that get it and people that don't. So there's some member ad examples. Now, we're going to need a certificate for this, right? And a special report. So I've designed the special report. Obviously, you can't offer a special report if you don't have the special report. So I've designed the reports that you're going to offer in the ad. And then when you meet with the buyer, you need a certificate. So I've got this one down here. This one here, you can change everything in here. So you've got a certificate that works with that. Let's go over to sellers here, and we're going to look at some of the guaranteed sale program stuff. So how about this one? Here's our go-to. Your home sold or I'll buy it. Okay? So that's the template. That's what it should look like. Okay, you just fill in the blanks. So then we've got the hotline script. Okay, now obviously this is not online. This is just on my computer right now. We've got the trade-up report. That's the report you're going to offer. We've got the certificate. So everything is here for you guys. And then we have member examples. Okay, so here's Nathan Clark. Nathan, we're using one of your examples here. Okay, so your home sold in under 120 days at a price acceptable to you, guaranteed, or we'll buy it. You see, Nate understands you've got to give them a reason why they would want to visit your website. So I like what he has here. To help learn more about the program and how you can benefit, a special free report called How to Avoid Getting Stuck with Two Homes has been prepared. To receive a copy, please call 1-800 blah 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 or visit 120dayssold.com. Okay, so that follows the formula. Okay, so we show you how to do it, we give you the template, then we give you examples. So I'm thinking surely if we create a template and all you got to do is drop your picture in and fill in the blanks, and then you can go look at some of our longtime members like Nathan's, you can look at some of these examples, like this is going to work, right? You'll be able to do this. So let's say for some of you that don't want to do the guaranteed sale program, how about this one? No, that's the same one. Hang on. Hang in with me here today, folks. Okay, how about this one here? I'm on the wrong one here. I'm struggling. Okay, this one. Your home sold in 60 days, in under 60 days guaranteed, I'll sell for free. So that 60 days should be a field that they're able to change. Okay, now you need a hotline script for that. Okay, we guarantee to sell your home in blank days. or we'll sell it for free. And then the landing page. Anyway, then we got examples of people actually doing this. And then there's one more I'll show you here. That wasn't the one.
This is great, man.
How about this one? Okay, here's two that you guys have used quite often. So I mock these up too. How about this? Your home sold for 100% of market value guaranteed, or I'll pay you the difference. So we've got everything for that one. And then I also did this one too. Your home sold for 100% of your asking price guaranteed, or I'll pay you the difference. So I think Jim Botrell's doing one of these. So Jim, you're going to have everything here done. You probably already created it, but there's the hotline script for that. There's the landing page for that. Here's the special report that you're going to offer. Okay, so the report is done for you. Here's the certificate that you're going to give the seller when you meet with them. You just customize it, fill in the blanks. Here's Jim's ad right here. Okay, your home sold for at least 100% of the asking price, who will pay you the difference. Okay, so what you'll be able to do now, Jim, is you'll be able to offer a report. So instead of just, call Jim on his cell number to discuss the sale of your home, you can say to order a free report that explains how you'll benefit from this program, visit, your home sold for 100% of askingprice.com or whatever. And then we even give you the cover letters that are going to go out if you're going to mail out the report. Okay, now if I get so that's going to take a while to get going, but once I get really ambitious with this, we're going to have all the statistical guarantees. Let's do some of these for sellers. Okay, how about this? Now, Jim recently did this, so this makes it easy for everybody. Okay, so you might have your guaranteed sale program at the top, and then 5 big reasons to call Craig. More money, more likely to sell, more speed, more buyers, more happy clients.
Perfect. Perfect.
Okay, so that's what I've been working on.
Well, I just figured you were playing golf, goofing off, going fishing, ice fishing.
No, I've been doing this and going to doctor's appointments.
Excellent. That's good work there, Mr. Proctor. Nice job.
The USP, the last doctor, was like, I will cure you or I'll poke your eardrum out. That was his guarantee. I will cure you, guaranteed to poke your eardrum out. Okay, let's see what we have for questions here. Okay, Sam, when will this be available? I was afraid to show you this because I'm not sure when it's going to be available, but we're working on it. I would say shortly into the new year. Nathan wants to know, who is that guy? Nathan, that was you. Scott says, yes, Canadian medicine. Yes, get ready for this, my American friends. This is free medicine at its best. Like I said, I'm not sure if the guy was even a doctor.
Medical assistant.
Okay, Sam wants to know, doing that survey, if you're calling doing that survey, do you identify who you are? Okay, so I had a separate company that was called Consumer Market Trends. And Consumer Market Trends, it was a real company, and Stephanie was an employee of Consumer Market Trends. So when she was calling, she could say, oh, hi, Sam, this is Stephanie calling from Consumer Market Trends. Do you have a few minutes? I noticed your home is for sale, and we're doing a quick survey on, local real estate. Do you have a few minutes?
Consumer market trends.
Yep.
Got it.
CMT. You never heard of it?
Yeah, country music television, man.
Okay, let's see what else we have here. The Universal Business Autopsy form you showed us is much better as it utilizes color than the one on the CP site, okay? So...
yeah, that's the newer version. And I uploaded it to the coaching site. It's in the file library under Platinum Business Plans. File library, click on down the left-hand side of your screen, Platinum Business Plans category, and there it is. You'll see it's the very first ID number.
Okay, so do we have any audio questions? If you guys would like to talk to Todd and I, raise your hand and we'll take a few audio questions.
That's a good one.
Got a bit of a shy group here today.
Hey, Vic's got his hand raised.
Okay, well, we're going to do all the questions except for Vic for the first 15 minutes. Just kidding, Vic. If Vic's got his hand raised, let's take it.
Hey, Vic.
Yeah, hi, how are you? I hope you guys are feeling better.
We're getting through it, buddy. We're getting by.
That's great. My question is actually for sellers. I have few times sellers from different sites. They send me email to call them and for the interview. And I tried with a couple of them, very good sellers. One of them I wanted to be the last, but they fought with me, and then they gave it to somebody else. It was $1.3 million, and the second one was yesterday.
Okay, hang on a second. Don't fight with them.
Oh, okay. Oh, no.
Okay. You guys, I want to make this clear. Your preference is to be in last.
Yes.
But you don't go to the point of fighting with them. If they're adamant that you come now or you don't come at all, guess what? Jump in your car and go see them.
Oh, okay. That's the mistake I made.
Yeah, so that it's only a mistake when you don't learn from it. That's what I always say. A mistake is only a mistake when you don't learn from it. There were a lot of mistakes I made in real estate, but I only made them once.
Okay.
Flexibility. Be a little flexible.
Yeah, I mean, our goal in a perfect world is for you to be in last. But yeah, every once in a while, Vic, I would be talking to a seller that would say, no, look, it's a question, right? I'm saying, are you speaking to other realtors? And if they say yes, well, may I request to be the last realtor you meet with? It is a request, right? May I request that I be the last realtor you meet with? Why? So I can show you how much extra I do to get your home sold. If they say no, I don't agree to that request, then they're the boss, right? You better get over there.
That's true. They said yes, and we set it up. Afterwards, she called me. She said, my husband doesn't want you to control us. I said, well, I wasn't controlling. I just asked a question, and you agreed.
Yeah,
but,
well, you already ticked them off, so it was too late.
Oh, really? Oh, okay. Okay, yeah. Okay.
Yep.
Okay. And another question. I had a listing presentation yesterday. She said she wants to sell. The minute I said with her, I knew she's going to sell it in a year or two, but she wasn't interviewing other agents. I just went through the presentation. I don't want to do it. What's your preferences? Like, shouldn't I do the presentation? Because she was elderly lady with her husband,
Mm-hmm. That means she was lonely. Look, you're saying she was not ready to list her home right now?
Yeah, on the phone she said she was. When I went there, she said might take a year or two. She was a very nice lady, but I don't know to go through the presentation or not.
Well, no, it just means you didn't qualify her enough. She didn't understand the questions. I'm sure she didn't mean to lie to you.
Oh, okay. Okay, so cases like that, I should do more qualification over the phone.
Well, yeah, because you wasted an hour of your time, and she has a good reason why she can't list her home for a year, right?
Yeah, she said it's a health issue, but in case things change, she will call me immediately. But she took all the papers. She was really receptive.
I know. That's how they trick us.
Really? Oh, okay.
Well, yeah. I mean, your defenses are down now, right? Because she was an elderly lady. She was very, very nice. She took all your paperwork, and she said, don't worry, Vic. When we're ready, we'll call you. Hey, Todd, if you had $1 for every time that happened to you, you'd have a lot of dollars.
Hey, back on your first appointment where you asked to go in last, Vic. Did you tell him why?
Oh yeah, I told him because would it be okay to be the last so I can show how much extra I do? She said, yeah, makes sense. And I said, would it be okay if you don't sign any agreement with anybody else until we have a chance to meet, because I'm going to do tremendous amount of work. She said, yeah, it makes sense, and we agreed. Then after like 5-10 minutes, she called back and said, oh, my husband said, we don't want you to control us. And, I didn't think I was controlling, but I lost the listings, basically.
Yeah. Well, you learned something.
Yes.
It rubbed them the wrong way.
Oh, okay, yeah.
Right, so that's all. You just have to be careful. Look, our ideal situation is we want control. We do want to be in control.
Yeah.
But you're going to have to use your own good judgment as to, how you apply that. Now, you may get your business to a point where if they don't do it absolutely your way, you don't even care, but it sounds like you do care.
Oh yeah, I really cared because we had the appointment and I canceled. I made it the following week.
Yeah, but Vic, how about this? Maybe they were just going to list with the other agent anyway.
That's possible.
Maybe it's a blessing in disguise.
They said because he was very nice. That's the email I got. I called back. They said, yeah, he was very nice.
Well, of course, that is the number one criteria sellers should use, is if the agent's very nice.
And
nothing else matters.
And the second thing she said, oh, he works only with sellers. I said, I do that too. And those two things were there,
Yeah, let it go. Let it go. You lost it.
Yeah.
No use crying over spilt milk.
No. I just learned. I just want to do better next time.
Yeah, you know what, though? I'm just saying there's a reason why in my business I always wanted to ask the question, are you interviewing? And I always wanted that control of being last in because if I go in number 1 or 2 and they're interviewing other agents, it doesn't always work out. So, again, you have to use your own judgment, but, obviously this lady felt that you were trying to control her and annoyed her, and then you lost the opportunity to meet with them at all.
That's right. Yeah, thank you for the tips. It really helps me for my next one,
Hey, well, the good news is you're doing 99% of it right.
Oh, yeah. I'm so excited. I'm fired up about everything. I hope I double, triple my business.
Well, that's what we're talking about here today. Now, Vic, do you take a day and just work on your business, like do an autopsy on all of 2014 and think about what your goal is going to be next year, and then are you very, very specific about what you need to do to reach that goal?
Yeah, Todd asked me, and I found out my closing, where it came from, all of them for 2014, and I put a goal also to close like 100 deals a year, which I never did that, but that's my goal.
Okay, now when you did this analysis on all of the transactions you did here in 2014,
yeah.
Were you surprised when you looked at that information as to where the transactions came from, what worked the best?
Yes, sir. Yes.
All right, so what surprised you? What did you find out?
I found out like some of them like commission. I have 2 commissioning sites. One was we create a lot of closing, which covers the same areas. One was not. And the second one I found out Zillow was doing better than Realtor.com and Trulia and Bold Leads, and I found out Yellow Book is doing better than, different thing for me anyway. So I found few things that's working better for me.
Okay, so what did that cause you to do? What are you going to do differently because of that information?
That's a great thing. That's all I found out. And what next step is, I don't know. I joined Yelp also recently to add more marketing. I hired one OSA to close more.
Okay, what's the first thing you said? You did what?
I joined Yelp also. Yelp.
How do you think that's going to help you?
Some people saying Yelp is creating more seller leads than buyer leads, you know.
Yeah, who's telling you that?
Well, I talked to a few people, you know.
Okay. All I'm saying is we have to be careful on how we spend our limited time and our limited resources.
Okay.
Okay, so if you look at all the stuff that you did, I think you would agree some of it was a waste of your time and a waste of your money. But that's why we test, right?
That's right.
That's why we test. That's the purpose of testing. So, but now that you've got the answer, you know what to eliminate, and you know what to do more of.
That's right.
But if you really want to have a quantum leap next year, you've got to come up with like a big idea. Because if you don't have big ideas, if you don't, like, it's got to be something big, or guess what's going to happen a year from now? You're going to do pretty much the same. Because you did the same, you got the same. So I want you to look at your plan aggressively, thinking, okay, we need something big here. We need some big marketing ideas. We got to hire a couple more agents. We need to improve our technology. Maybe it's follow-up. You know, for a lot of you, I was talking to Todd before the webinar here. I said, you know, I assume for many of our Platinum members, if they just could tighten up their follow-up, they wouldn't even need any more leads.
That is absolutely true.
They just need to be better with the leads that they have.
That's right. We traced them. We lost many people. And last 1 week we called, they already purchased with other people.
Right. So follow-up, you've heard me say this, is the Achilles heel. And do you have people helping you follow up the leads, Vic?
Yes, I have one ISA from Philippines.
Who's training your inside sales agents?
Insights, I have one, I'm training her. I told her that you only learn from me, and Thursday from James, you know?
Right, okay. So obviously you get it, right? You've got to be really, really good at the script, or that person never will be. You can't train somebody how to become good at what you're not good at.
That's true.
So this is where a lot of Platinum members fall off, is they don't want to make the phone call, so they just delegate it to somebody that's not very good. And then to compensate for the person who's not very good following up the leads, the answer is, well, I just need to generate more leads. Right? We get lazy with the follow-up, and the easy part, because you're all pretty good marketers now, is we just turn up the volume on lead generation to compensate for our poor follow-up.
That's right. Craig, I usually do the first call. The lead, when it comes, I call them first initially, and then she will do the follow-ups.
Okay, I like that system. So you call them first. If they require longer-term follow-up, you give them to your inside sales agent. And if they're immediate business, of course, you continue on with them.
Yes, sir.
Okay, now let me ask you this. When you go out an appointment, like that elderly couple you were talking about,
yes.
So you go over to their house and they say, we're not ready to move for a year. Who follows up on that one?
What I'm doing is I put her name in our monthly, it's not a postcard we send to our clients, you know. That's all I'm doing, and I'm going to follow up with her in the next 6 months.
Okay, see, those kind of leads I would probably delegate to your inside sales agent.
Oh, I let her follow up?
Well, yeah, you can't do it all.
That's right.
And that's not the highest and best use of your time. You should be, I like the idea of you calling the new leads. At some point, you won't be able to call them all. So the next step, Vic, is you're going to call all the seller leads and give all the buyer leads to your inside sales agent. But right now, I like your setup. You call all the leads for the first call, and you know if they're a high-quality lead, you hang on to it. That means they're going to buy or sell in the next couple of weeks. If it's longer than that, you're going to give them to your inside sales agent.
Yes.
So at least the now business isn't getting screwed up.
That's true.
And by the way, when you're training your inside sales agent,
yeah,
you should do it at the office or wherever you make your calls with a three-way calling.
Oh.
I want her or him, I want them listening to you make your calls.
Oh, okay.
Okay, so that's how I used to do it. So I always made my calls from home, but I would call into the RE/MAX office, and I would get Carol on, and then we would call the prospect. So I would say, Carol, the next person we're going to call, it's somebody that requested an online home evaluation, and they checked off yes to selling in 6 months or less. So you ready? We're going to call them up. And I dial the number, and she would just sit quietly, and then she would listen to both sides of the conversation. That's how you're going to train this person. It's not going to slow you down at all. You just keep doing what you're doing, but your inside sales agent's going to listen to you doing it. Okay, now after a couple weeks, you turn the tables. Let them do the talking, and you sit silently on the phone and listen.
Okay.
Because they're all going to tell you they get it, but it won't be until you actually listen to them do it that you'll realize that they don't get it at all.
Okay. So far, I'm letting them record few of the calls and send it to me. I'm listening to it and telling her.
That slows you down.
Oh, okay.
Like to start off with, if you're making the calls anyway, just have him or her listen to you make the calls.
That's right.
Because I mean, if they make 2 hours of calls, when are you going to find time to listen to them make calls for 2 hours? I guess you can throw it in your car.
Oh.
But you see what I like about the live three-way calls, Rick, is you can critique them right on the spot. Okay? So I have a dog, and when my wife left today and took the kids to school, I didn't put the dog in the little cage. What do you think the dog did? The dog peed on the floor. Now, there's no use me coming up a couple hours later to try to discipline the dog or like don't do that. The dog doesn't understand because the dog peed on the floor a couple hours ago. But if I can catch the dog doing it and I can say, no, don't do that, that kind of works better. That's why I like doing the live calls with them, because you can critique them right there on the spot so they understand it.
That's a great idea.
All right, Vic, thanks for, as always, for having a couple great questions.
Another question?
We better see who's next.
Yeah, I've got Mr. Nathan Clark with his hand raised here, so let me find Nathan, and hang on there, Nathan. Nathan. There it is right there. Mr. Clark. Nathan. Yep.
I think I got sick just being on this call.
Yeah, Nathan and I go way back to the time when I used to have 2 working ears.
My question was with the USP. How often did you switch up your USP running the same one? I've been doing the same one heavily for 7 years, but I run in the bargain buyer, so I do the GSP there. But like every week, should I just try a different USP, just put something fresh out there, or?
No, it's not the something fresh that's important. What's important in the early stages is you test the different USPs to see what one works the best. Once you discover which one works the best, just hang with it. I mean, there is a real benefit to your consistency in the marketplace. Like I'm sure when you're walking around, you know, the grocery store or whatever, oh yeah, Nathan Clark, you're the guy that'll buy our house, right? So there's value in that. Too many times, you've heard me say this, right? Real estate agents, we get bored of our marketing and advertising before the public does. I mean, there's been a lot of times, because some of you have been around for a long time, where, you know, we'll meet at a conference or we're on a webinar like this, and I hear you guys say, you know, I used to do that. You know, I used to run those editorial ads, and they worked really well. And then, you know, my question would be, well, like, why did you stop? And they're not really sure why they stopped, other than they knew it worked well, and the only reason they can come up with is they thought they needed to do something new. The only time to do something new is when what we're doing is not working. But so the testing part should be at the beginning. That's when you're going to test all these different USPs, see where you get your biggest bang for the buck. Once you find the winner, then you really should plaster it on everything. And you know, Todd's been big on that, right? Your business cards, your letterhead. It could even be the way you answer the phone.
Well, this is a great call. Yeah, right before the call, I was actually setting the spreadsheets to my assistant, start breaking down last year's numbers versus this year's numbers. And, you know, it's key looking at what you're really making. There's really only 3 things I'm making all the money at. And there's some things that I'm breaking even. We were talking about that before. But as much as you try to track, like I have 27 closings that come from the source, NathanClarkTeam.com, where the people just came in and, we ask them when they call, oh, where'd you hear about us? They'll just say, I just name recognition. I see your signs all over the place, or I hear you all over the place. So those are the hard ones to track.
Okay, so what you say to that, and I would get a lot of that too, you'd say, but if you could name one thing, I mean, when they say, well, we see your name all over the place, we hear about you all over the place, but if you could name one thing that really stood out as to why you decided to do business with me, what would that one thing be?
Yeah, that's good.
You have to kind of prompt, you have to poke them a little bit to try to get what you want, because they're lazy and they don't understand even why you're asking the question, right? Because it doesn't matter to them. It only matters to you. So don't be afraid for you or your people to dig a little bit deeper on that, because they actually, most of them will be able to tell you the one thing. Because when they say to you, well, Nathan, like everything, when they say like everything, then that doesn't help you. Because you're sitting down with yourself now. I don't want to do everything. I only want to do what works the best. We need to know, like, what is that one thing that really did it for you, that made you call me? You're not going to get that answer all the time, but I would try to dig a little deeper on that.
Yeah, we're working on it this year, and I can see how important it is too. Vic was touching base on this as far as you being the ISA to the first contact these leads, because you're doing 1.5 million in transactions, and you being the first one to contact the majority of them, still get 10% of the deal as the ISA.
Okay, so this is the hardest part. The hardest part is for you to do the thing that you really don't want to do, because you can hire somebody for way less than what you're worth to do it. So our first instinct is to delegate that. But in reality, it is the area where we all can have the most influence and make the most amount of money. Let me say this. Do you think that Todd and I, after 20-plus years of doing this, making millions of dollars a year selling real estate, do you think I really wanted to be sitting in my basement on Monday night, Thursday night, and Saturday morning for 2 hours at a shot, humped over my desk with a great big pot of coffee, cranking out the universal callback script for the, 50,000th time, saying the same thing over and over again? It wasn't like, hey, great, I get to go make some phone calls. It wasn't because I thought it was the most fun part of the business. It was because I realized that's where I would make the most amount of money. So if I'm going to work 2 hours in my business on a Monday, that's it right there. That's where I'm going to make the absolute most amount of money. So it's the willingness to do things that you don't want to do because you understand it's what's best for your profitability. And it's easier than done. But I was pretty disciplined with that. Because how many hours would you have to sit on the phone in a week? I mean, if you could commit to 6 hours a week, like I just described, and you picked a couple nights of the week, and you just did that, nobody could interrupt you. I mean, nobody can interrupt me when I'm making these phone calls. I'm not in the internet realm. I'm just head down, call after call after call. And think about this. You're good enough with this, Nathan, that in 3 minutes you can get on and off the phone, even in instances where you have an appointment. So if that's true, that means every 3 minutes you're on the phone with a different prospect. You could speak to 20 prospects in an hour, so in 2 hours you speak to 40 prospects. I guarantee you if you talk to 40 prospects, you're going to make more money in that 2 hours than anything else you can tell me about in your business.
Yeah, and that's when I'm listening to this call. That's what I'm realizing here is I wasn't putting time every day. I mean, I'd come in the morning and I'd handle all the signed calls, all the come list me's. But I think I need to put a block of time every day, an hour every night. Just call every lead at least once, and hand, like Vic was saying, hand over the ones that are future
right,
leads.
Because you don't know if it's a good lead or a bad lead until you call it. So the important thing every day is let's get to the new leads. And if they're an A lead, it's going to stay with me. And if they're anything else other than an A lead, if a B, a C, whatever, they're going to go to my inside sales agents.
Right, and I think that's what I'm going for. I mean, because that's about $200,000 of profit right in my pocket if I do that. $150,000 of profit right in my pocket, taking 10% off everything.
Well, see, that's the thing. You can't pay an inside sales agent anything close to what you pay yourself when you do this.
Mm.
Now, are you still going out on listing appointments?
Yeah, I'll do about 50 seller sides.
Okay, so here's the great thing about it. You're cherry picking the best calls, but you're also going to cherry pick the best listing appointments.
Mm. Yep.
And let's say it's a listing appointment you don't want to go on. You would know your team better than anyone else. So if it's a first-time buyer, who on your team would be best for the first-time buyer? Because you're not going on it, but who would be best?
Right.
Like, you know that, right? But some inside sales agent that you hire might not know that, Joe on your team is really good with first-time buyers. But then you've got another seller. It's maybe too far for you to drive to list it, but it's a luxury home. Who on your team would be best, to sell a $700,000 or $800,000 home?
Yeah, I mean, it's for a couple hours, 8 hours a week. You talk, I just did the math about, it's a $250 an hour job.
Well, I looked at it this way. Look, to sell 500 homes a year, can I suck it up for 6 hours a week?
Hmm.
Now, okay, before I did that, remember, I was also listing the houses as well, so it wasn't 6 hours a week. It was more like 60 hours a week, right? Because of the fact that I spent 6 hours on the phone, and I was, good at booking a listing appointments, I was the guy going out in the listing appointments as well. And I kind of liked booking appointments for myself because at least I knew when I got there they would be qualified. And that's the problem when you have someone else making the calls for you. They're running you around all over the place, right? You've done that before, and you get there, and you're like, this is a waste of time.
Mm-hmm.
So you drive a half an hour there. You're in the house for even a half an hour back to the office. There's an hour and a half running around, totally wasting your time. You could have spent that hour and a half on the phone running other agents around. You're on the phone making all the money.
Let me ask you, with leads, we talked about that briefly in the last question. So, like, I'm looking back at 2015, we generated 780 seller leads and 1,500 buyer leads. And I'm not counting the commissions Inc. I'm counting, like, Success Website,
Yep.
Sign, 280 leads generated, and I'm closing, let's say, 220 transactions. That's 220 transactions, 250 sides, whatever. So that's about a 10% conversion rate. Is that low?
Well, I think you can do better. That's the whole point, is the immediate thing that most of us think is, well, if I want to go to 300 or 400 transactions, what that means is I got to generate more leads.
Mm.
And Todd, do you remember when you and I would talk about this?
Mm-hmm.
I mean, what were you, in your heyday, how many leads were you generating in a month?
1,500.
Okay, so he's generating 1,500 leads in a month to sell like 60 homes. Right, so I was thinking, okay, you got to sift through 1,500 leads every month just to do 60. So, that's when you got to tighten up your follow-up.
So, yeah, I'm looking at the same thing. 2,280 people basically contacted us, and we only sold 10% of those people.
And sometimes when you look at your lead generators, if you just take the time to drill down and look at this, you realize that some of the lead generators are only producing poor quality leads. So the answer is, why run those? They're not resulting in anything good.
True.
So for me, I can tell you right now my best lead generators. That online home evaluation, that little 2-inch by 1-inch ad, that ran every single day in the local paper because I listed a lot of houses from that. The postcards that went out, 20,000 of them every other week, offering an online home evaluation on one side and the area home sales report. Like, there was a reason why I sent out 20,000 of the exact same postcard every other week for like 15 years, because it worked. Right? So there were like 5 or 6 things that generated 75% of the sales. And they happened over and over and over again. Now, what we're tempted with is the new thing, right? So now we're running around and we're fixing our Yelp account or whatever. We're running around doing all these things. And Todd, you and I have lots of discussions about this, right?
Oh, yeah.
I mean, it's good job security, because what we're trying to do is we're trying to get you guys focused on only what works. But it's almost like we're looking for a distraction. It's almost like what I described is too boring. Boring, right? So what you're saying, Craig, is you do like 4 or 5 things and they just work, and it doesn't really involve you, and it just like happens week after week after week, and the leads come in. That sounds boring. And you want to know what even sounds more boring than that? And then Craig sits humped over his desk in the basement actually calling them back. That's really boring. But if I didn't tell you what I did, I'd be lying to you. That's what I did. I had very simple things that worked, and like clockwork, over and over and over and over again, and I did the work that nobody wants to do. But I was prepared to work 6 hours a week to sell 500 homes. And when you become really, really good on the phone, and I know some of you guys are, you will be able to train people to help you. But even though I had really good people, like Carol's still with Frank today, she's been doing this now for 15 years, she's very, very good. Was she as good as me on the phone? Not quite, but she was very good. But I spent years making her very good. It doesn't happen by accident, right? You've got to find somebody that sort of gets it. You've got to work them. And I was highly motivated to find someone on the phone that would do what I was doing, because I wanted to be free from making the phone calls. But you're not going to be free until you can get somebody that can do it like you. And in the meantime, you better do it.
Yeah, this might be a dumb question, but I'm tracking the closed all the way at the end, because that's the only way I could see it. But how do I find out what the leads are that are a waste of time? Like, what's an easy way to do it besides having to pull out every lead, all 2,500 leads that we got this year, and break them down and go from there?
Okay, so remember I told you earlier in the call, Cindy would provide this report. I mean, we kind of got off topic here, because the topic was, at the end of the year, you should take a day and have a meeting with yourself with all this information. So one of the reports I looked at was a report of all the sales by source. Okay, so at the top of the list, it would say like online home evaluation, 217 transactions came from that. And then maybe at the bottom, it might say banner ad on York Region News Group website, 1 transaction. So I had a whole bunch of things like 1 transaction, 2 transactions, 3 transactions. And you know what I'm thinking to myself? How much time did I spend messing around with this thing, 1 transaction, this thing over here, 2 transactions, when all I need to do is more of the stuff at the top? So there's a lot of things that I was able just to eliminate. Waste of money, waste of my time. What I want is I want to simplify my business. I don't want to make it more complicated.
Right.
So if you can get that kind of report, you're going to realize, guaranteed, not a little, but a lot of the stuff isn't worthwhile. But some of the stuff, that's the ball game. You need to expand on the stuff that's working the best.
Yeah, that's what I'm noticing. There's really 7 things I have here that are my top lead generators. Top closing generators. The other stuff's just 1, 2, 3, maybe that's it.
Okay, so here's my question for you. Do you think you can expand your market share in your market, or do you need to expand markets?
We've been working on expanding the market.
Okay, because here's what you need to think about it. Whatever your market share is right now, for you to go from X to 2X, how much money would you need to spend to do that? Or are you better try to get X in a completely different marketplace? So you don't have to press on the gas pedal any harder in that area you're in right now. You go to a virgin marketplace,
right,
with the same stuff that you already know works, and you just apply it there.
I'd have to go out of state. I'd have to go to Massachusetts, Connecticut.
Well, that's the same. That's the same as going out of town. You know, in Rhode Island, right? Going out of state, going out of town.
That's like a road trip. Anything more than a half hour is like a pack of lunch.
Okay, so I had to do it with Frank Pulcinello. When I expanded into Richmond Hill and Thornhill, that was getting pretty far from my office. Like that's a half an hour, 40 minutes from my office. And I don't know the market there. I've never sold a house there before. I don't know what I'm doing. But Frank did. Frank was an expert there. So Frank's a good agent, doesn't have a lot of business. I know I can apply these leads down there as well as I can up here. So that's how we worked it. So you just find a really good agent in that area. And now, of course, it's a different state, so I don't know how complex that gets. But
I know I just gotta get licensed in Connecticut. I already got a license in Mass. It's just paying more money to get the license.
yeah, but against the big picture of if you could duplicate this over and over and over again, it might be worth the extra cost and the hassle to do it.
That's a good idea. I'll have to look into.
These are all the things that we want to examine. Okay, so here are my choices. I want to do better, right? Like I know you want to do better. I've never met one of our members that gets up in the morning and they think about how to do worse tomorrow than they did today. So I know we all want to do better. So we've either got to do better in our own marketplace, okay, or we've got to expand, or we could do both. But I'm just saying I got to a certain point where there was no doing better. I poured more money into it and more money into it, and it didn't seem to matter. It's like you've got to, it's like someone tapped me on the shoulder and said, "Hey, buddy, you've got a 15% market share. You're not doing any better. You can pour all the money you want into this. You're not going to do, and you've got it. Whatever you're going to get, you've got it now. You need to expand. You need to move on to other places."
Hey, Craig, quick question with knowing your marketplace. So we don't have towns as big as you do, so it's always been tough for me to say what is my marketplace. Like I don't have towns of 50,000 people. We just handle one area. Would we handle the whole state? How do you know?
We got lots of stuff like that. Okay, most of the places around me they're not even towns. They're villages.
Right.
They're villages. So there's Newmarket, and then there's Holland Landing. Sharon is a village. You drive in, it says the village of Sharon. All these little places.
So maybe I should just break down every village, every town, and see how much I do in that town versus transactions. Just do it that way, and then that'll show me really where my mail market is.
See, here's what I believe. I believe you're capable of making really good decisions. But what do you need to make the good decisions? The information, right?
Yeah.
You need the information. So that's when you set up this meeting for yourself, you should make a list. Okay, what's all the stuff I need to know? What information do I need to know? So I need to know, where all of our existing transactions came from. You want to know, okay, my agents that I have right now, who's cutting it, who's not? Because if we're going to do better, we can't, might not be able to do it with this roster. So how are we going to get better agents? Who's got to go? When are they got to go by? Now, who's going to fire them? And then you might want to like a population study in these different areas. You can get onto that website, Reality through IMS through Leon.
I got it.
That's cool, right? Because you can look at the number of transactions in all these different marketplaces.
Mm-hmm.
Because that's more important than population. Right, like that village of Sharon I talked about. There's a lot of older people that aren't ever going to move. I'm not interested in that. I want an area. I want the young people that are, going to move every couple of years. So the turnover is more important to me than the population of the area.
Right. So I'm looking at doing the same thing. I think I'm just going to break up town by town and city by city that we've sold a house in, and just have to see what areas we sell a lot in and which ones we don't. And just consolidate to maybe a county.
Okay, think about this too. Those radio commercials that you run, you still doing that?
Oh yeah, that's my top lead.
Now, do people in Massachusetts, do they hear those radio commercials?
Yeah, so we'll do about 5 to 10 transactions a year just in Massachusetts. So that's why I got my Mass license. But I'm now getting the same thing in Connecticut. I'm getting 10 calls a year.
Right. You're already paying, like the radio waves. They don't know any borders. So you can. That's something you can just keep expanding, and you already know it's working. They're already hearing those ads. But in Connecticut, you can't help them right now. When I started working in Richmond Hill and Thornhill, I didn't use the radio. I used television, and it was a very quick way for me to become a dominant agent down there. It's amazing how you can go from a complete unknown with radio and TV to a total celebrity in 3 or 4 months.
Mm-hmm.
Right? I'm sure when you started doing that, people from Massachusetts are calling you, "Hey man, we hear your name everywhere," and you're thinking, well, no, you haven't, because I wasn't even running radio commercials, until a couple months ago. Anyway, good luck with that, Nathan.
Yeah, no, it's eye-opening, so I'm working on it now.
The most important meeting you'll ever have are the meetings with yourself.
Mm-hmm. Thank you.
All right, thanks, Nathan. Hey, Todd.
Yeah, man.
I bet you're glad I'm doing all the talking.
I'm definitely happy that you're sounding better than you were a little earlier today.
Yeah, I'm getting stronger. You know what I was thinking? About 15 minutes into this, I'm thinking, if I wasn't here with you today, what would you have done? Because I don't think you would have made it through the whole call.
Well, we're pretty innovative, we figured things out. But it was a good webinar. It was timely. Everybody needs to be working on their business, so not so much in it, especially now, this time of year. I've got scheduled time here over the holidays to do some serious work, on the business for Platinum members, you, and, a real estate company as well. So I'm actually looking forward to it. So definitely looking forward to it. All right, so just to wrap this up, just want to remind everybody about the Platinum OSA workshop, January 24th and 25th. In Orlando, Florida. We have room for 200, and there will be over 200 that want to come. So bring you and your outside sales guys, and Craig and I will train them up for you. And looking forward to that. So the agenda's posted, and you guys can access and get signed up for that right now. Just try to limit it to yourself and 3 outside sales guys, please.
I will be ready to get out of the snow by January.
Yeah, definitely. It'll be a great time. We're looking forward to that. So have a great job, Craig. Thank you so much, sir. And I know you're getting ready for the holidays.
Yeah, happy holidays to everybody. Merry Christmas. If we don't talk to you guys between now and the next couple weeks. Todd, you take care of yourself. Get better. Get some rest. And I want to thank everybody for being a member of the program this year. Todd and I really appreciate it. We're always open to your suggestions on how we can do a better job, but our goal is, of course, to help all of you do better, and we want to try to make it fun. That success is a journey. It's not a destination, and we're glad you've decided to take the journey with us.
Thanks a lot, Mr. Proctor. Go have a good one, and we'll talk to you guys soon. Thanks now.
Hey, take care.